Hi, I'm Sarah Sedwick. Welcome to my studio. This is my online mentorship group session for March 2019. And today we're going to be discussing painting black, painting the color black. And I have mixed up a palette from 2 tubes of paint, well, 3 tubes of paint, Burnt Umber, Ivory Black, and Titanium White. Here is a color chart that I made from this palette. And here is the, let me put my finger all in the paint. Here is the actual palette itself. So I've laid it out on the palette exactly the way that it is on the color chart, going from left to right, from color to no color. And so why did I pick these 2 colors? Well, I sort of want to illustrate the point that using black from the tube is acceptable, you know, but we can doctor it. You wouldn't want to come to a portrait and paint the shirt that I'm wearing with just straight black from the tube and then put a little bit of white in it in the places where there was light. It would end up looking flat, boring, and gray. We want to do with our blacks in our paintings what we do with our white in our paintings, which is let the ambient colors from the scene, from the room, from the light source influence that no color color, in this case, black. So why did I pick Burnt Umber? It's warm. It's not super warm. It's not a brown that goes all the way to being reddish. It's kind of a restrained neutral brown, earth tone, but it's a lot warmer than Ivory Black, which the more titanium white you add to it, it actually starts to feel pretty blue, which is why I use it as my blue in the 3 primary palette, the Zorn palette, when I paint portraits. So we have a warm and a cool. And we have a still life that has warm light on it and cool shadows. Here, sometimes when you've got something like this kind of stripy shadow of the handle on the cup, I see people trying to do that with, you know, by painting that stripy shadow. You could just as easily, if not more easily, do it by painting the light that's around it. Put the dark in first. Because lighter paint with white in it is so opaque, it covers so well. Sometimes it can be easier to paint the light over the dark. That's the way I like to handle cast shadows on the ground. I really like to put my cast shadows in first and then put the light over and around them to modify their edges, soften their edges where I want it softer. Now, some of you have heard me say, I will talk to myself and say, move on. Stop working on that. Leave it alone for a little while and what? Give it a chance to be done. If I kind of get the foundations of the form looking all right on this cup, when I come in with the highlights, it'll really just bring it all the rest of the way to completion. Highlights and dark accents. I'm not quite ready for that yet. All right, back to the sphere in the midtones. The sphere looks pretty good, but it needs some warms added to it, I think. I've got the core shadow. It's all kind of fading into the darkness, isn't it? I've got the core shadow and the reflected light, but I want to hit that light side some more. So this is 1B. So far, I have not really gone into 4 and 5 at all, have I? I have gone into 4A, but I have a little bit into 4B, but not any of this. But I think when I come in to do my highlights and dark accents, I will go there. because my darkest darks are going to be my coolest things. But yeah, so I'm in row one, burnt umber, and maybe I'll just take my straight burnt umber with a little bit of white in it. I see very little contrast here, where the negative space is like 2B. Maybe I have a lost edge in the midtone here too. That's cool. 2A. The glare is making my life difficult. 3. Let's hit that dark, dark again. This is the shadow of the mug happening on this side of the sphere. Awesome. Feels very sculptural. I want to hit the reflected light again. The reflected light feels really warm coming from the ground. If I go to straight burnt umber, put that in again. I don't really want to go to 2 to 1B, but maybe just a little right there. And then the highlight, let's go to 1C. It's a really diffuse highlight on this styrofoam ball. The more times I touch this, though, what will happen? Blend away my beautiful brushwork. Yeah. All right. About ready to leave that. Just want to soften that edge between the shadow and the light just a bit. Great. Let's go to the